So today's video, we're going to take you through 10 nutrition myths for fat loss. Now, before we begin, if you want to get a copy of my free 59 fitness myths guide I've just put together, which will help you get insane results and not make mistakes, hit the link below this video and I can send that straight over to your inbox for completely free. Now we'll get into the 10 fitness and nutrition myths. Now, myth number one is you shouldn't eat sugar. Now and sugar will make you fat. Now this is a complete lie. Sugar does not make you fat. Too many calories make you fat, and that's a fact. Now, I don't want to encourage you just to eat pure sugar all the time, but you need to switch this from your brain thinking that the whole thing of you becoming fat or gaining weight is purely down to sugar. You can have sugar in your diet, and we actually recommend it to clients at specific times. So that's going to be pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout. You can have quicker digesting carbohydrates. The rest of the time, you want to focus on probably more slower digesting carbohydrates. We just want to be wary that the key thing that's driving fat gain and weight gain is calorie surplus, not excess sugars. Next thing for myth number two is that carbohydrates make you fat. Carbohydrates don't make you fat. I try and eat at least 500 grams a day of carbohydrates at the moment whilst dropping body fat. Now, carbohydrates are vital in terms of actual performance within the gym and you being able to train hard. And what we actually do with clients at CJ Coaching is we help teach clients how to get their bodies running efficiently to utilize carbohydrates and nutrients appropriately. One of the worst diets out there, in my opinion, is a ketogenic diet. Will make you feel absolutely awful and perform terribly in the gym. Now, what makes you fat, like I said in the previous point, is too many calories and too many carbohydrates. So if you've got excess of any macronutrient, that's going to cause weight gain or stop you losing body fat, not specifically carbohydrates, which get a bad rap. Number three is fat makes you fat. So with fats, we have to be aware that fats have a higher amount of calories than protein and carbohydrates. So protein have 4 calories per gram, carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, and fat has 9 calories per gram of each macronutrient. And if you wanted to know, alcohol is 7, which I don't recommend drinking anyway. But fat specifically will not make you fat. We actually need some fats within our diet to have a healthy immune system, to have a strong sexual function, and have a strong hormonal function, and also for brain function. Very, very important. So key is to having the right amount of fats and good quality fats and essential fatty acids. But as with any macronutrient, too many calories are what's going to make you gain fat, not like either protein, carbohydrates, or fats. Next up is my favorite meal of the day. People think breakfast is bad. Breakfast is a beautiful, wonderful thing. You get bicep cramps there, it's been a good day. Now, in regards to breakfast, it's called breaking the fast because fasting overnight. But in the reality of breakfast, this is when your body needs nutrients to recover. Now, I don't recommend generally people eat as soon as they wake up, but breakfast shouldn't get a bad rap. Ideally for most people, and I personally find, a protein and fat breakfast is ideally optimal for most people for fat loss and for brain function. So ideally, if you're going to train later in the day, I'd recommend you have your carbohydrates towards the tail end of the day. And at the beginning of the day, have things like eggs and omelets and stuff like that in the morning, or even like a smoothie with whey protein and peanut butter, rather than having a bucket load of oats and carbohydrates or quick sugars, things like cereal. Cereal, if you're not training in the morning, it's not going to be a good idea to eat. Breakfast inherently isn't bad, it just gets a bit of a bad rap from the people who push the fasting route, which there's a time and a place of fasting for gut health, but for overall fat loss is not something I recommend generally for most people. Next up is bread is bad. Now, anyone who knows me, who's followed me for a while, will know I have an addiction to bread. I love bread, particularly like Turkish bread. You can dip it in hummus and all that sort of Arabic stuff. It's wonderful. Now, bread isn't bad. Like dietitians tend to go off the would tell you to jump off a cliff if you'd eaten loads of bread. Now, I'm telling you, you can get shredded and eat bread. I personally have an issue with gluten, and a lot of people tend to. So if I eat bread, I tend to get a bit inflamed. My abs will get a bit watery and stuff like that. So most people tend to have a bit of a gluten issue, so that would be something to be aware of. But that's not necessarily going to make you fat or gain weight. As we said earlier, the calories within bread aren't actually that high. So if you wanted to have bread, that's no problem at all. I'd always recommend, if possible, that you try and get gluten-free bread. So at the moment, I'm currently staying in a hotel, and like this morning, for example, I asked for 4 poached eggs, and I had 2 gluten-free pieces of bread, so that doesn't cause any stomach issues for me. So overall, bread is fine. If you want to have that in your diet, that's something you can fit in within the right calorie and macronutrient requirements. So next up is I have to take healthy food everywhere. I can't carry stuff with me. As I actually just mentioned earlier, I'm currently living in a hotel, and I'm just winging it, buying packets of chicken here in the supermarkets, poached eggs for breakfast in the hotel, protein shake at the gym, Nando's tonight. It's pretty easy. When you just know how to eat clean foods and like learn these skills of becoming self-aware, this is really what we teach clients, because then you're not stuck to having to eat off like this set meal plan. You know how to eat and actually live your life, be happy and get defined results with that. So if you want to learn more about those skills, you can hit a link below here, book in your free 6-pack strategy call with myself and the CJ coaching team, and we can map out exactly how we can teach you these skills and get world-class results. Next up is cheat days can't hurt. Now, I used to be this guy. I remember I used to get Doritos family pack, I used to get all the dips, and I get a large Domino's pizza, and I get a ton of Ben & Jerry's. That's probably about 5,000 calories, and it used to be my cheat meal on a Saturday, and that would literally scupper my entire progress of fat loss through the week. So say, for example, if 5 of the days during the week I was in a 500 calorie a day deficit, like that's literally gonna be double that, so I would never lose body fat. Now, this is the key what most people don't understand, is they think they can be good Monday to Friday, and they go off the rails at the weekend. And they end up in Monday again in the same cycle, feeling guilty about what they did at the weekend. Now, I don't want you to be that guy, and this is something you really want to try and avoid if possible. So learning that you can have what you want within reason is a really important skill that we teach clients. So we use what we call our free meal method, where at the weekend clients can have one meal they want and still get awesome results and achieve the body they're looking for whilst having the finer things in life and not just having to eat chicken and rice. Next up, a common misconception people have is I always have to weigh everything. Like I said, I'm currently staying in a hotel, still getting awesome results. Just use common sense. So sometimes you're looking at a portion of protein. If you look at a portion of protein the size of your fist, that's probably gonna be 30, 40 grams for most things. That's a good way to look at it. And then if you just try and work out roughly where you're at, that will be fine. If you're doing things ad hoc on the fly, I would always underestimate how many calories and carbohydrates are in things if your goal is fat loss, just to make sure you're under your calorie allowance to make sure you are going to be losing weight. If you aren't losing weight, then you're probably not calculating correctly and overeating on your calories. But generally, having to weigh everything isn't necessarily vital. And also, if you're eating very similar things every day, then you should know that, okay, if normally at the next meal I have 4 rice cakes, for example, if I start having 2, that's going to start to drop my calories and it's going to accelerate my fat loss. Another common misconception people have is alcohol doesn't mix with fat loss. Now, yes, technically this is true. As I said earlier in the video, alcohol is 7 calories per gram, which has absolutely no benefit to the body and is toxic and is going to cause issues with the liver and all sorts of problems. And also the big issue with alcohol is it can disrupt your sleep and your recovery and probably your decision making eating bad foods. You might be listening to this, haven't done that before. I know I have. I've gone off the rails and eating loads of crap when I shouldn't have because I've had too much to drink. Now, what you can do is you can have a glass of wine, 2 at the weekend, a gin and tonic or 2 or whatever you want, and still get awesome results. But you don't do that every single day. So the devil is in the dose is a big thing you need to think about with alcohol. You can have a small amount at the right times, but don't make it a daily habit. Now next up, I'm probably gonna offend some vegans here, so it is what it is. Not all protein is equal. So protein from vegetables and vegan sources and things like tofu, nuts, they are not as good as animal sources because of the amino acid profile. And also if you're looking from a body composition point of view, I don't care what Game Changers and all this rubbish says. I did a podcast with James Wilkes from Game Changers, go check it out on the Shredded Show. The calories, like you can't get a lean vegan source of protein, which isn't either high in carbohydrates or high in fat. Whereas animal sources and fish, you can get high protein, low fat, low carb, which is how you're gonna get leaner. So that's really the fundamental of why vegans struggle to get in really good shape and get very lean. Now the reality is that there are some people who are look sick who are vegan, obviously, but some people are just genetic freaks and will be like that anyway. And imagine how good they look if they eat like meat. But also a lot of people got in sick shape and then became vegan. So I could get in sick shape and then just start eating a vegan diet and be like, oh look, I'm the greatest vegan in the world. Could happen, but it won't, because I won't be vegan. Everything I eat has to be healthy is a very common misconception as well. So one of the things that we do with a lot of clients, and I used to do this a lot myself, is giving clients sweet things after training. So things like cereal, Cocoa Pops, even Pop-Tarts I did for a while, gummy bears, whatever you like that's sweet. There's something you love. You can get these sugary things in and around your diet, which is what we teach clients within our metabolic priming approach. So the timing of the food you eat is the key, not necessarily how clean or healthy they are. So, and also the amount, so make sure it's on your calories and your macronutrients. So you don't have to eat super clean all the time. One of the things that I really like to preach is that you can actually have the food you love and enjoy them and get awesome results and not have to feel bad that you're foregoing all the things you love in life just to try and lose weight. So that's 10 food myths for fat loss wrapped up. Now, if you want my free 59 fitness myths guide, hit the link below here and I'll send it over to you straight into your inbox. This will help you not to make some of the common mistakes and answer a lot of the questions you may well have. Now, hit the link below and you can get your copy of that. Make sure you smash the like button, comment below any questions or any of the myths here or anything else you'd like debunked, and hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video very soon.